Okay, so starting standing by your chair today, just so that we can do a little bit of shoulder work and not have to rely on the chair keeping the back upright, if you like. So you can hold onto the chair if you need to. If you don't need to, then just allow your arms to hang down by your sides. Let's take the shoulders rolling. Give a few circles in each direction. See how they not just feel, but how do they sound today? So keep going if it's crackly. So finding that reason to just release the shoulders this morning. So it's your opportunity. And then we can take the shoulders up and down as well. That helps to release the shoulder blades. So, and the space between the shoulder blades. And then with the shoulders drawn down away from the ears, I'm going to squeeze and stretch the fingers down towards the floor. Now you don't need to keep the legs completely still here if you want to move, but it's squeezing and stretching the fingers, drawing the shoulders down, lengthening the arms. And then we're going to rotate those wrists and we'll take it nice and beautifully, balletically all the way up. So rotate, start to lift the hands, rotate, rotate, keep going until they're above the head, maybe even arms stretching up towards the ceiling, pressing the feet down, and then change direction of the wrists to come back down again. Push the thighs backwards or soften the knees if the back is feeling a little bit stiff. We're going to do that one more time. Change direction of the wrists, up we go. So starting to take the hands wider and back a little bit if you can. Starting to work those back muscles slightly differently. Push the thighs back and then rotate the wrists the other way, coming out wider and wider. Working the upper back as well as the arms. Fantastic. And then we'll just take the palms facing forwards. Push the arms back and up. Take a nice breath in. Yeah, don't bash the chair. And then breathing out, down we go. Let's just do 2 more of those. So nice big inhales. Pushing the thighs back rather than forwards so that the arms go back behind the head. And release. Final one, nice and slowly, breathing in. Up to the top, stretch, turn the palms down to your sides. And adjust the shoulders in any way that feels comfortable. We'll work on the legs a little bit by taking the hands onto the thighs. Check the feet are parallel now. Whether they're together or apart, we want them straight, facing straight forwards. And then as you slide the hands down, the knees go straight forwards, not towards each other. Straight forwards, activate these thigh muscles, front and back. See if you can let the arms hang. So making these thigh muscles work, all right? Now we're going to lift the toes off the floor. Engages the shins and the thighs a little bit more. Pull in the tummy, engage up through the pelvic floor. Put the toes down and then lift the arms forwards to come back up. And release the arms. Let's do that again. This time without touching the legs if you can. Bend the knees, bring the hands beside the knees. Release the head so that you're not trying to look forwards. Lift the toes, engage all the way through pelvic floor and abdominals. Then put the toes back down, breathe in, lift the arms forwards and up. And down. Last time, down we go. Pushing the knees forwards, the feet are nice and securely on the floor. Just dip the nose down slightly, lift the toes off the floor, engage the abdominals and the pelvis, and then inhale, arms come forwards and up. And back down again. Okay, just release anything that needs releasing, even if you need to wriggle through the knees and the hips. I'm going to take the head over to the right. So I'm going to release the left shoulder. Try and let the ear come closer to that right shoulder as you release the left. Maybe even starting to slide your right hand down the side. And then pause with the shoulder away from the ear and the head tipped over. Now we're going to gently come back up to the center and do the same the other side. So now the head goes to the left and it won't go quite as far just yet because we did release it quite a lot. Release the right shoulder. Start to take that slide the left hand down the side of the thigh, keeping the head over to the side, so you're trying to look at everything sideways. And then pause there. And then gently slide it all back up again. Check your blood pressure's okay. And just release your shoulders once more. I'm going to take the arms wide now with the opening the curtains feature. So if you have your fingers just touching in the center, breathe in, open up. So my theme this week is positivity. Let's have a nice big smile and breathing out, bring the hands back to center. So twice more of those. Breathing in. You can push the pelvis forwards now if you want to, so you really open the chest and release. One more time, breathing in into a back bend and breathing out, release. Fantastic. We're going to come and sit down on your chair now. Have something to support your feet if you need it. Come and sit down. So sitting towards the front of the chair if you can, so that you're not leaning back, not relying on the chair to keep you upright. And then we're going to take the hands on the back of the chair. So it might be the seat, or it might be the spindles, it might be the sides of the back of the chair. So hold that and try and pull the chair forwards. Chest comes forwards. Don't lift the chin like this. Bring the chin down, look at the floor, and try and pull the chair off the floor at the same time as you push down. So a little isometric push and squeeze through those abdominals. So yeah, Mandy, without a chair, you just repeat the Utkatasana that we did before. So this is the seated pose. They just crouch down. Again, release and bring the arms forwards and roll your shoulders. I'm going to lift one leg, so if you do need to go a little bit further back into your chair, then do, so that your back is supported. But otherwise, we're going to just lift one leg and we're going to squeeze and stretch the toes. Point and flex the foot. Rotate the ankle. Change direction. Hold underneath the thigh and release forwards and back the lower leg. And then pop it back down again. So the other one, squeeze and stretch the toes. Point and flex the foot. Rotate the foot. Change direction. Hold underneath the leg and release the lower leg with just a swing forwards and back. All right, now let's work on those thighs. So I'm going to lift up the left leg again, and I'm going to press down and resist. Isometrically press down and lift at the same time. Don't bring the shoulders up like here, but just keep the shoulders relaxed. Press and press and press. Push away, and then release. Let's do the other side. Press and press, push away, push away. Trying to lift that knee as hard as you can to make those thigh muscles work. And then release. Now we're going to rotate the hip joint, so you can lean back again if you want to, and take this leg in circles. Let's go for 6 in each direction. So if you only can do less than 6, then just stop. And if you can do more than 6, keep going and see how it feels. And release the wrists if you've been relying on them to keep the weight. And then let's do the other side. So we've got 6 in each direction. Really get that leg working this morning. Brilliant. When you're done, just give it a little shimmy and a shake. Now I'm going to turn sideways on the chair. I'm going to take my little step with me, otherwise I can't reach the floor. So if you want to watch first, I'm going to go sideways and place my feet here so that I can take my hands behind and squeeze the shoulder blades together and find that space there in the chest. So you can either change your chair around or you can move yourself. Okay, then bring the hands behind you and squeeze the shoulder blades together. So pushing the knuckles down towards the floor or just beyond the chair. You might go straight down or you might be able to lift. The objective is to open the chest so that we create space between the breastbone and the ribs. Keeping the chin down so that the back of the neck is long. Take another couple of breaths here. And then release the hands and release your back. So if you've gone into overarch, just release the back a little bit. We're going to hold a beach ball in front. So see if you can now round the arms, elbows sticking outwards, round the back. So push yourself backwards, round in the back and look down towards your thighs. Take a couple of breaths here. And this opens up the ribs in the back of the rib cage. And the space between the shoulder blades again. And come back up to neutral. All right, I'm going to come back to face the front again. So if you moved your chair, you might want to move it again. Come back to the front. This time for cat curls. So I'm going to place the hands on the thighs, the fingers facing inwards, the thumbs hooked outwards. This rounds the back so that I can look down towards the upper thighs or the belly. And then breathing in, take the shoulders away from the ears, lift the chin, lift up the tailbone, concave the back. Breathe in. Breathing out, scaredy cat. And a couple more. Last one. And come to neutral. We're going to give ourselves a hug. So let's breathe in, open up. And then hug, hold the shoulders and release them from side to side with a little jiggy jig. Check which arm's on the top so that we can swap over. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, now I'm going to come up to standing using those thigh muscles. So having the feet securely on the floor, sitting forwards on your chair. You can have the hands here in, this is called Anjali Mudra, where you have the fingers all apart and the base of the thumbs into the breastbone, Anjali Mudra. Breathing in, breathing out, pushing forwards to come up. Let's do that twice more. So breathing in to sit down, breathing out to stand up. Okay, brilliant functional position for those thighs. I'm going to turn the chair now so that I've got the back of the chair facing me here, but I'm not going to step back just yet. I'm just going to turn sideways and hold the chair. So have the back of the chair on your right side. And with the feet together, bring the left knee up and push it out to the side. That's it, so opening up that hip. Now bring it back and push it out. A couple of times. Fantastic, and bring that foot down. Now you're going to turn with your back to me so that we don't have to turn the chair, or you can step away from the chair if you know you can do it balanced. But let's just do the other side, so turn away from me, lift the knee and push and retrieve that knee, opening up the hip joint. And then come back to center. So here's where we're going to use the back of the chair. I'm going to step back to flat back pose, but I'm also then going to lift the legs in the warrior three. So just make sure you've got enough room behind you to then lift your leg and not bash a piece of furniture. So if you just need to adjust your chair somewhere, do. If you know that you don't lift your leg anyway, it doesn't matter. But we're going to start with flat back position, using the wrists on the chair rather than the fingers, because there's a different angle on the arms. Wrists on the back of the chair, and step back until your feet are hip width apart and your hips are over your ankles, and you've got a nice flat back. If you can see yourself in your tiny little square on your screen, then you'll be able to see whether you've got that flat back position. I can also see most of you, so I can help you out there. Head between the arms. Push the chair away to get traction in the back. Take a couple of breaths there, looking straight down at the floor. See how that feels in your shoulders and your armpits. Pull the knees up so that your knees are controlled by the thigh muscles. You can see the knees, so just have a look at them. Give them a little pull up. And then look at your chair and walk forwards and release your shoulders. So we'll come back to it to lift the legs one at a time. Have a rest between. So you can just have a peep at me first and just see how I'm going to work this one. I'm going to put the wrists on the chair again, walk back to that flat back position. There is a tendency to either overarch the back, which my back doesn't do easily, but some people's do, or to hump the back, which mine wants to do like that, rounding. So you have to try and kind of acknowledge where your curves are in your back and try and flatten them out a little bit. Then the feet come together to slide one leg back, and it's not too high, I'm not going for it, and just sliding it back, maybe level with the floor. It's quite a lot harder than 2 feet on the floor, and you might want to rest between sides. Okay, so let's have a go. Walk backwards if you haven't already, feet together. A nice flat back position. See if you can work out if you've got the curve in the lower back or the hump in the upper back. So pull your tummy muscles in and drop the armpits down towards the floor. See if you can straighten those arms a little bit, Jane. So push the chair away and then slide one leg back until maybe it's parallel to the floor. Keep breathing when you do this. All right, keep breathing. Don't keep it there for too long if it works really hard on your heart. And then you can either rest between sides or try the other side. Keep breathing when you lift that leg. Keep the other arm nice and strong, pushing the chair away to find the length in the back as well as in the buttocks and the hips and groins. Fantastic. And when you've tried both sides, just look at the chair, walk forwards and come up. Okay, we're going to use the chair to help us with chair pose. So again, the feet are about hip width apart or a couple of inches apart. You're holding onto the chair with the wrists, not the fingers, so that the arms are long and straight. And then you just start to try and sit down. So pushing the knees forwards and bringing your bottom down. And then up you come. So we'll do that a couple of times. Mike, you look funny because you're going behind the chair. You look like a little meerkat coming up, looking up. So take a nice big breath in at the top, breathing out, down. That's it. And then come up and down. So trying to go just a little bit further than you might do without a chair, maybe. Maybe you can go a little bit more. Be aware of the knees though. If the knees aren't happy, don't force it. Be aware of the toes. Do your toes come off the floor? That means you're taking the weight back. So try not to. Keep the toes on the floor. Now we're going to hold one down. Hold this one down and see if we can take the toes off the floor, which pulls you backwards. Can you leave go of the chair and stay there? Tuck the tailbone under. Now put the toes down, put the hands back on the chair and lift the heels off the floor. This is really strong on the thighs. And you might be able to leave go there as well. It's a bit of a balance, obviously. That's it. And then put the heels back down again and push through the feet to lift you back up. Placing the hands on the waist, just have a little hula hoop to release. So strengthening there. Both the flat back and the chair pose are for strength. So we're going to repeat both of them. So the flat back position, walking yourself back until you've got your feet underneath your hips, straight back, straight arms. Put the feet together, slide one leg back until it's parallel to the floor. Keep pushing the chair and engage the abdominals. Put that foot back down again, try the other side. Have the toes facing straight down. If they go out to the side, dial them down. Then put that foot back down onto the floor. Walk towards the chair so that you can do your Utkatasana chair pose. Breathing in, breathe out as you go down. And repeat. Third one, we'll hold down. Hold this one down. Take the toes off the floor. Can you take your arms off the chair? Toes down, heels up. Push the knees towards the chair. Chair's there if you need it. And then up you come. Place those feet securely on the floor and a little hula hoop. Strong through the legs. Just going to do one more with the chair and then we'll come down onto the floor. But for Trikonasana, triangle pose, I'm going to turn the chair around so that the seat is facing me. Remember to be safe when you change your chair around. Don't twist your back. Make sure you've got nice movement now. Turn around with the chair. So Trikonasana, triangle pose. If your chair's, I think everybody's got their chair over that side, haven't they? Yeah. So we're going to face the chair. Put your right foot under the chair and take your left foot back. With the hands on the waist, straighten the legs and start to push your bottom backwards as you bring your chest down towards the chair. Put your right hand on the front middle of the chair. Push the chair away and turn and open up. So left shoulder's facing the ceiling. Fantastic, everyone's there. All right, that back foot can turn out now if you want it to. It can even go a lot further back. It can go wherever you want it to once you get there, so long as you feel comfortably supported by your chair. Legs are straight and try and push, separate the mat with your feet. So I don't know if you can see this with my mat, but I'm pushing the mat forward so hard with this foot and back so hard with that foot that there's kind of a little crease in the middle there. So I'm trying to make the mat longer between the feet, and that engages all these thigh muscles. And that's what sticky mat is for, to just help you. We're going to take this top arm in circles, so down to the bottom, in front of the face, up to the ceiling. See how it feels? And back down. Try that a couple more. So nice big circles with those shoulders. Let's make this the last one. And then release the arm down onto the back leg. Turn everything back to the chair, even if you have to lift the back heel to do it. Bend the front knee, step it forwards, and come up to standing. Leaving the left foot underneath the chair, take the right foot back. Might be just a little bit, you might want the chair, you might be able to do it standing. We're going to straighten those legs, hands on the waist, slide them to the tops of the legs, hinge forwards, place left hand front middle of chair, push the chair away and then turn to the right and adjust the back foot. So you've all turned away from me now unless you turned your chair, so I'm going to turn back this way so I can see you. Using the back foot to just stabilize you and to pull the knees up with the thigh muscles, open up the hips, open up the shoulders. So really feel like you've got that lovely rotation. You're trying to rotate your chest and your belly towards the ceiling. And then use that top arm down to start with, in front of the face, up in the air and round. So maybe 2 more circles if the shoulder is willing. And then when you're finished, turn to face your chair, turning both feet towards the chair, bend the front knee and step forwards and come back up to standing. With the hands on the thighs, just allow yourself to sink down and do a little piggy wiggy wiggle. It's quite a big opener on the hips, stretches the back leg and opened up the inner thighs there, so it's quite strong, the triangle. And then push forwards to come up. We're going to pop the chair away to one side. You can use it for relaxation later if you want to put the feet on. Make sure you don't turn sideways with your chair. Always have your back flat, chair in front of you to lift and move. I'm going to come down onto the floor now into kneeling, into a cat pose. So if you want padding for your knees, for example, or for your wrists, just grab a cushion or a pillow and make sure you've got some kind of padding there. Hands underneath the shoulders. And when you get there, you can just rock from side to side while we get ready. Cat sways. The swaying cat. Then we'll take those cat curls again that we did when we were on the chair. So let's have a cheeky cat first. Tailbone up, chest up, chin up, breathe in. And then breathing out, curl into the scaredy cat, rounded spine. Let's just do 2 more. And to neutral. Now I know that some of you need to release the wrists quite frequently, so let's just release the wrists. You want to have little circles. And then we'll see if we can take front crawl. So we're going to take one arm over and down, and the other arm over and down, front crawl. And when you've done a full set, bring those hands back to the floor. I'm going to take a kneeling triangle. I'm going to have the knees quite close together to start with, and then take the foot out to the side. So whatever side you've got space for, we'll work with that. I won't say lefts and rights. So take your foot out to the side. Now see if you can put it on the floor. I don't know if you can see my foot there, but I'm not on the toes, I'm not on the heels, not on the side of the foot. The foot is on the floor as if it's doing a standing pose. The sole of the foot on the floor if you can. Now, if that hurts your ankle, so Mandy, you don't know which leg it was that you said you'd hurt, but if it's the ligament on the outside of the ankle there, you could put a little support there, like a yoga block or a cushion to receive it, but the stretch will do it good, hopefully. So now your opposite hand, the other hand, needs to just be adjusted so it's underneath its shoulders so that you can open up to the straight leg side. But just as we did holding the chair, now all the weight is on that front arm, so we won't stay there too long. We're going to stretch that top arm up into the air, breathe in, and then bring it down, thread the needle underneath the supporting arm, hold the shoulder and look at it. Let's do that twice more. Breathing in, lift up and open towards the straight leg you've stretched out. Breathing out, thread the needle, hold the shoulder and look. If you can do one more, then do one more. Breathing in, opening up, rotating. And so it's rotating your hips and rotating the back. Bring that hand back down to the floor, bring the knee back to center. Let's go for the other side. If you need to turn around because of lack of room, then do. But take the other leg out to the side, level with its own hip probably. Foot securely on the floor. Just sort out the opposite hand to make sure it's comfortable so that when you put your hand on the waist or the hip of the straight leg, you can rotate and turn and open to the ceiling. That might be enough, or you might be able to do 3. Stretch up to the ceiling, breathing out, thread the needle, hold the shoulder, wriggle. 2 more. When you're finished, bring it all back to center once more. I'm going to release those wrists again, so now go up onto the fists so that you've got a straight arm all the way down to the knuckles rather than that right angle. Little gorilla pose. So just takes the right angle out of the wrist. You go up onto the fists. Just rock forwards and back. Okay, then place the hands back down onto the floor. Last time we did front crawl, this time we're going to attempt backstroke. So can you stretch the arm forwards and round and then change arms? So nice and slowly, but obviously this works in lots of different areas. Works the head, neck and shoulders, works the upper back. It's weight bearing through the arms. You've got a little bit of movement through the abdominals in order to get that movement. And then when you're finished, when you've had enough, bring the arms back down to the floor. I'm just going to work the hips a little bit more, and we'll see if you want to do this or your hips want to do this. So just now we took the leg out to the side. This time we're going to see if we can bend it and bring it forwards. All right, if it doesn't want to go, don't force it, but can you bring the foot forwards? If it's painful, take it out to the side. That will release it until maybe even you're back to where you were just now. So only bring it forwards if it's not too painful. Okay. From there, now actually I didn't say this before, but if your hands now don't reach the floor, you could have a block or a book there to put your hands on. So if you need a little bit of height to give the hip release, then give yourself some height. That's it. And then we're going to put the hand on the knee, just like we did standing. We pushed the knee out, didn't we? So you could just push the knee a little bit and turn towards it. That's it. So the foot stays where it is, but you turn towards that bent knee. And this engages all these thigh muscles here. It opens up the buttock muscles on the outside of the hip and thigh. And it's an internal rotation of the inside. Really good if you get sciatic. It's just lovely stretch down the outside there to stretch the sciatic nerve. Take one more breath. And then come back to the center. I'm going to release that leg. So you can either stretch it sideways and back or just slide it back into position, back to your cat pose. Let's try the other side. So the other leg's going to go out straight or you're going to bend it towards you, or try and slide it forwards level with the hands, or somewhere in between. Yeah. And then put the hand on the knee and turn towards it, pushing it away, rotate so the shoulder comes up to the ceiling. You've got a rotation here in the mid-back and upper back. Then you've got the stretch through the buttocks and the inner groin and hip. Breathing steadily. And then turn back to the block and come forwards and release that leg. We're going to come down onto the elbows. And rock forwards and back. This is dolphin pose. Little rocks forwards and back. We're going to head all the way to the floor in a minute and put the tummy on the floor. So if you need to have any padding, then grab some padding. If you've got a pillow or cushion underneath the knees, as I have here, you could bring it up underneath the belly to support the belly and the lower back, if that's more comfortable. So whatever's best for you, come down to now on your tummy with the forearms on the floor in front of you. And if you need to adjust your screen or you need to adjust yourself so you can see, I'll give you a moment to do that. Release the buttocks, so don't squeeze the buttocks. Lift the legs just a little bit, stretch them back, and take the elbows slightly further forwards than the shoulders today so that we're not up high in Sphinx. It's a semi-Sphinx. It's a lazy lion. Now releasing down towards the floor. Don't squeeze your bottom, just rock the pelvis instead. Releasing the lower back. And then we're going to take it all the way to the floor. So with the fingers just touching, the elbows wide, bring your head down. It might be chin, nose, or forehead on hands. Take a couple of back breaths, I call them. So you're breathing into the back, and as you breathe out, you let your back breaths. We're going to start by engaging the abdominals. So think about your abdominal muscles and see if you can squeeze them slightly off the floor, and at the same time push the groins into the floor so that you lengthen the lower back. So it's tummy up, groins push down, and then release. Tummy up, groins push down, and then release. To do a couple of those, try not to squeeze your bottom leg. Try and get all the action in the thighs and the abdominals to lengthen the back. Squeeze tummy off the floor, push pelvis down. Using that action, we're going to take sacroiliac stabilizer, the SIS. Tuck the toes under so that you've got the shins are off the floor. Pull your tummy in, push the pubis down, and lift the knees off the floor. But keep pushing the tops of the thighs downwards. Keep the tailbone tucking down to keep the back long. Then release the knees and relax the buttocks. And again, tuck the tummy in, push the pubis down, lift the knees. So sacroiliac stabilizer, turn it on and off. Lift and lower. So it's not so much effort that you're trying to lift the hips at all. You're just lifting and lowering the knees. Now relax the feet and let the heels flop outwards. We're going to do a single leg lifts now. So we've got the head, neck and shoulders relaxed and the belly muscles engaged. Take the feet a little bit closer together if they've drifted apart. Lift the right leg, make the leg longer and put it back down again. Lift the left leg, make it longer, put it back down again. At the end of the set, melt. And then start again. So breathing, engaging the abdominals, pushing the pelvis down, lift the right leg, make it longer, put it down. Lift the left leg, make it longer, put it down, and at the end of the set, melt. Okay, so keep going, doing a set of 2 and then melting. And after the next set, just melt and leave it there. You might want to have a rock in the pelvis to just release your lower back. And then we're going to start thinking about the upper back and shoulders. So for this one, I'm going to take the hands beside my face and get the elbows on the floor. If that's a bit tricky from here, you could get a block or a cushion to put your forehead on. Or you could take the arms wider. But we want the elbows on the floor, the chest on the floor, and either the chin, nose, or forehead on the floor. Now we're going to lift the head. So press the hands and elbows down. Lift your head from the floor, turn it to the right, put your head back down again, looking to the right. All right, engage the abdominals, push the pelvis down, lift your head and shoulders, but not the elbows. Turn your head all the way to the left, and then put it down again. Melting in between each turn. And being really, really careful and sensitive about the turns because it adjusts all the way down through the spine. So in your own time, you lift, turn all the way to the opposite side with the head. Put your head back down again and melt. And keep going. So this works not just the neck, but all the muscles right the way down to the tailbone. Do it nice and slowly. If you find that your lower back starts to crimp or cramp at any point, then just stop and re-engage the abdominals and press the pubis down again before going again. Now for those who'd like to make it harder, if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can have a little peep at me and I'll show you. To make it harder, I'm going to take the elbows off the floor and put the fingers beside the shoulders. And then when I lift and turn, and flex. So it's a little lizard arms. But it's harder because it contracts the back muscles before you lift. Bring everything back to center now. Bring the hands back where it's comfortable and let them relax. We're going to bring ourselves up to dolphin pose using your elbows as we've done many times before. So bring the elbows underneath your chest. Push them down to lift your bottom off the floor. Walk the knees in and then rock forwards and back. So those were all back bends that we did on the floor there. Lifting the knees, lifting the legs and lifting the head. They all work through the back muscles and you might feel that here now. We're going to see if we can walk the elbows back to child's pose or whatever position than you feel comfortable in. If you need a pillow behind your knees, you can pop that there so that as you go back, you've got something to sit on without squishing the knees too tight. So you can put something behind the knees if you want to. Come all the way back, have a little rock from side to side. Keeping the head up off the floor to start with. Just appreciate the rounding of the back, the counter pose to all those back bends. We're going to take our elbows for a walk. So let's take the elbows over to the side, just off the mat, and keep rocking forwards and back, side to side. Feel that stretch down the opposite flank. Then we're going to bring the elbows back into the center of the mat and over to the other side. And keep rocking, moving, releasing. Then we'll bring the elbows back in front of the knees, either touching the knees or further forwards. And then support your head, one potato, two potato, forehead, or block potatoes, forehead, whatever works for you. So the forehead is resting on something, and you can keep swaying if you prefer, or you can just breathe into your upper back. The pressure on the forehead creates a little bit of softness through the mind. And then gently release from that forward bend. We're going to come to seated just briefly before we come onto our backs. So take your time to come on up. And then we're going to sit with the legs out the front, out straight. So I'm going to sit on a block for this to lift my hips. You could sit on a cushion block or a book. Stretch the legs out in front. I know for a lot of people this is very tricky, especially if you have back issues. So if you need to bend your knees, do, to just give you that space. Or you could pop a cushion or a pillow underneath the knees to relax into that so that the back is more straight. What the back wants to do if it's not strong enough, or if the hamstrings are not long enough, is it wants to do this, of course. So we feel really awkward in this position. So trying to use as many props as you need to give yourself that lovely flat back and uprightness. Okay. And then place the hands on the floor just behind you and into the palms of the hands. Rest. I'm going to bend the elbows slightly. And then bend them and straighten them. So a little bit of weight through the arms, weight bearing through the shoulders. And then I'm going to push the hands into the floor so much that my shoulder blades squeeze, lift the chest, lift the chin, bend the knees, place them on the floor, even if they were happily straight, so that you can press down and lift the chest. Some of you might be able to get lift off, maybe even tabletop and look at the ceiling. But if not, just work through strength in the arms. If you can't get lift off, don't force it up. Looking up towards the ceiling. Make sure the feet are securely on the floor if you've gone lift off. Because if you take the toes off the floor or you just go onto the heels, you've sort of compromised your foundation. Then look at your knees to come down and swing the bottom back if you lifted it, so that you can have touch down and release the wrists. So we're going to come down onto the floor on our backs and just make sure that you've got room beside you to take your arms out, because we'll be taking the arms out flat on the floor. Okay, so I'm just going to move myself forwards and then bring my back onto the floor using my elbows, feet underneath the hips. But do move if you need to. If you need a block or a pillow for your head, then make sure you've got your props near you. Maybe if you want a blanket for relaxation, you could make sure that's near you now as well. We're going to be taking the knees from side to side after, not the first pose, but a couple of poses in. So if you have got extra pillows or blankets handy and you would like to have those close by to the hips, you can have those to relax into as well. But to start with, in this semi-supine position, feet parallel, soles of the feet to the floor, hands on the belly. So we'll take a couple of pelvic tilts. We start off by breathing in and pushing the belly to the ceiling, and that might give you a little arch in the back, might not. And then as you breathe out, draw the belly muscles down so that the back is flat into the floor and your tailbone curling up, although you don't lift your bottom. Breathing in, arch, and belly rises, breathing out, flattening. In your own time, a couple more of those pelvic tilts. So it's like doing cat pose on the floor, which we've done seated and we've done standing, and we did kneeling. So a couple of those, this is north-south, okay? And we're going to go east-west. Now for east-west, it's not a sway, which takes the hip off the floor and the knee goes sideways. It's more of a lift off the floor. Lift, alternate buttocks, off the floor so that the knee goes up or in a foot direction rather than sideways. So this is your east-west. And it works through the tailbone and the sacroiliacs again. So if you have tricky sacroiliacs, this is a way to release that. And then nice and comfortably, pelvis on the floor, relax. Draw the feet together. Bring one knee to the chest. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, squeeze it even tighter. Now you can hold over the knee or under the knee, remember, depending on how the knee feels today. But you draw it down towards the chest. You can wriggle the foot or point and flex the foot. If you didn't need a cushion or pillow underneath your head, you might do now, because this starts to tilt the chin upwards. So if your chin has come higher than your forehead, just pop something underneath the back of the head. Shoulders relax, lift the head and look at the knee. The idea of this is to flatten the back, not to try and do a sit up. So just allow your back to flatten into the floor. And pop the head back down again. Let's change legs so that foot comes to the floor and the other one comes to the chest. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, hug it a little bit closer. Play with the foot. Shoulders relax, lift the head if you want to. Flattening the back still. And then head down and feet down. I'm going to take the arms out at shoulder height, palms facing upwards. Feet and knees together. Suck your tummy down so the back is flat into the floor. Just pause for a moment, take a breath in. As you breathe out, take the knees to the left and the head to the right. Looking at a palm that's up, turn the other one palm down, the whole arm. Even if the knees don't get to the floor, just pause wherever they're happy to go. Take a breath in there. As you breathe out, bring it all back to center. Palms facing upwards again, knees and feet in the center. If you need to lift your head and check that you've come back to center, do. Take a breath in the center. As you breathe out, knees to right, head to left. Looking at a palm that's up, turn the other one, the right hand all the way palm down. Stay there to breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring everything back to center. All right, so you can keep going now with your own breath. Moving on the exhale. You could just do the legs, or you can incorporate the arms as well if you want to. If you're not sure about the arms, don't worry too much about it, but it does give you an extra rotation across the shoulders. You just make sure that you're always looking at a palm that's up and the other one is down behind you. You can have the feet either flat to the floor, easy version, or you can stack them one on top of the other, slightly stronger in the back. Now we started by taking the knees to the left. So next time you've taken the knees to the right, that's a full set. Bringing the knees back to center. You can then give them both a hug when you're ready. Then you get to do a little rock from side to side, or you can push the knees out like we did standing. Push them out, then to your chest and together, round in circles. Pushing them out to the armpits or chest, squeeze and push away. And back the other way. And then if you want to, a little beetle pose. Now beetle involves sliding the hands into the inside of the knees, separating the knees, sliding the hands down the insides of the calves and the shins as far as you can reach, maybe lifting your head if you want to and holding the feet. And then like an upturned beetle, you can just rock from side to side. And then bringing your head back down and the knees back together. Push the knees away, let the feet come to the floor. Soften your back. Take the feet as wide as the mat now and gently let them sway from side to side. And from here, we're going to take Shavasana, relaxation position. So if you need to take any other adjustment before you lie down, do. If you want to grab a blanket or an eye pillow, then grab your bits and pieces. And come and lie down on the floor, stretching the legs away and then separating the feet as wide as the mat. Okay, so once you've got everything in place, give alternate buttocks a squeeze so that you rock the pelvis from side to side. Then relax the hips and the pelvis, squeeze and stretch the toes. Squeeze and stretch the toes. Point and flex the feet. Windscreen wiper the feet. Rotate the ankles one way and the other. Push the heels away so that maybe the heels come off the floor, and then let them relax and flop outwards. Toes at 10 to 2. Taking the arms by your side but not too close. Tuck the shoulder blades under so that the arms completely turn, palm facing upwards. Squeeze and stretch the fingers. Rotate the wrists one way and then the other. Placing the backs of the hands on the floor, press the wrists and backs of the hands into the floor so much that the elbows come off the floor. Now push the shoulders down, lifting the chest and arching the back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, release the chest and the belly, release the elbows, release the arms, and the fingers just lightly curl into position. Make any adjustment to your legs or your arms that you feel is needed. Turn your head one way and pause. Back to center. Turn your head the other way and pause. Back to center. Wriggle the eyes and the nose and the jaw. You could take your tongue and massage the whole of the inside of the mouth, behind the lips, the space between teeth and lips, the cheeks, and the roof of the mouth. Then let the tongue relax. Steady breath in, steady breath out. Gently bring your awareness back to the weight of your body on the floor. Just notice where you are. If you want to have a wriggle of your fingers and toes, then do that here. Maybe a slightly deeper breath to start to wake yourself up. So do whatever's comfortable for you at the end of your relaxation. That might be to hug your knees, it might be to wriggle, it might be to bend the knees, it might be to stretch. And if you want to stay exactly where you are for a little bit longer, then you can just stay there while we do the closing sequence. Eventually bending the knees and rolling to one side will just help the blood pressure. Open your eyes and then gently come up to seated. And as always with this class, I am sitting on the floor at the end, but if you want to use your chair or sit on a bed or the sofa, whatever piece of furniture you've got handy, then do feel you can do that. And then we'll take those 3 big breaths together. So let's take the hands in the center and see how you feel. Breathing in, lift up. The arms don't have to go straight. You're just opening the ribs. With a smile, release the hands down to the side. With the palms facing upwards, take the sun up above your head and bring it into your chest, your solar plexus. Breathing in, open up the curtains, ready to start your day. And breathing out, release. Touch and wisdom today. Your throat for communication and creativity. Your heart for compassion and for love. Open up the lotus flower. And this week I have a little poem for you, which is easily found on the internet. Lots of people have claimed to have written it. It was included in a Spike Milligan anthology, but he says he didn't write it originally. Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I passed around the corner and someone saw my grin. When he smiled, I realized I passed it on to him. I thought about that smile, then realized its worth. A single smile, just like mine, could travel round the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Let's start an epidemic quick and get the world infected. All right, breathing in, lift up, and namaste. Thank you very much.